What's up? What's up, good people?
What's happening? How y'all doing?
Right? Another rainy night in Georgia, another Tuesday night.
Rainy night in Georgia.
Say that again.
No, it's gonna blackmail me.
Say it again, man.
Nah.
Rainy
Seems like it's raining all over the world. That's a nice little song, Major.
Oh, it's a
D
beautiful
Major
song.
7, man.
It's a
G
beautiful,
Major
yeah, it's a
7,
beautiful song. Beautiful song, man.
Yeah.
Welcome to the party, everybody. What's going on, local musicians?
XP. Come on now.
We are here in Atlanta.
Yes.
For your viewing audio.
We could be anywhere because local musicians are anywhere, right?
Yeah, but I don't know, man. With this local musicians thing, we might be rebranding. I don't know. We're gonna see.
Wow.
Because I think we need to hit the big stage, man. We need to hit the big stage.
Thanks for sharing this with me now, bro.
I'm just giving you my. I'm just sort of giving you my
vision in front of the world.
Thinking out loud, man.
You can do this with a cup of coffee first. We gotta let the world know.
You don't drink coffee. You can't drink coffee.
Right, that's true. Tea.
I'm gonna get you on some coffee one time. I just want to see it.
You do not want to see it happen, bro.
I just want to see it, man.
You don't.
You should have. You should have had a little at the session. It would have helped you. We had to do the session with Carlin, and it would have.
You don't even know. You don't even know.
I'm saying if you drink it early enough, I think you'd be all right. You don't do any caffeine. You can't do it.
I cannot. If I drank at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'll stay up till 5 o'clock the next morning.
I wonder if that's just you just have a low tolerance. I think maybe if you
abuse.
So you used to
yeah, all the time. Coffee,
really?
Dr. Pepper, yeah. Now it's just
okay. So you be ODing is what you do.
I did back in the day.
You be on the street. You on the street corner, man, at Cafe de Monde looking for just looking for the coffee beans, man.
They smear the beignet on first, and then just pour the coffee down it, bro.
What? Okay.
Yeah, bro.
I didn't realize you had a problem, man. So okay.
Well, I do have a problem. I love it, bro, but I can't have it, man.
Okay, I understand.
If my wife sees me with a cup of coffee, she's like crying. It's just like it's terrible. She's like, "No, you didn't." It's like I did. I had to. She's like, "No." She's packing a bag, going to a motel. Yeah.
Oh, she out of there.
Oh yeah, she got to get out of there.
Oh wow.
You know my personality, bro, better than anybody. So you can imagine this on coffee, bro. Come on.
Yeah, you can be quite excited. So, but all right, man. Then I help you out, bro. I won't tempt you. I won't tempt you.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for just tuning in, everybody. If you are on YouTube or if you want to subscribe to our YouTube channel, it is free. Go to YouTube, subscribe to the channel. We need the subs, of course, just like everybody else. But if you're on Facebook, you can follow us. If you're on Instagram, you can follow us. If you're on Twitch, you can subscribe. And I know some of the old heads don't even know what Twitch is, man.
Hey, man, Twitch is coming up, man. I'm thinking about getting on Twitch.
Twitch is the spot. I mean, if you are a performer or if you like to stream, if you that's the spot, man.
Yeah.
That is the spot. So all of those great platforms, check us out. Spotify also. And LMXM. What is that?
Local musicians.
Rich. Now we just saw Rich. Rich was doing great. Rich was supporting. He was at your show on Sunday.
Man, we got to cut him a break, bro, because Rich had a horrible vacation, bro.
And he did say something about that.
He did, bro. So we're gonna cut him a break. We're gonna cut him a break.
Okay, I'll cut you. Okay, so it should be low LMXP rock.
He got it. Oh, okay. There we go.
Okay. He redid it. He redid it, but then he did it lowercase.
Oh,
it's like got to give us.
Don't have Rich jump through hoops, bro.
Got to give us uppercase, man. Uppercase.
We got it. We know you.
Thanks for being here, Rich. We really appreciate it. Good to see you. Your gig Sunday was very successful, man. You had a nice little crowd Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m. spot. that was over at Red Light Cafe. Red Light Cafe is quickly becoming a friend to, I mean, the jazz musician. I'm not sure about what I'm sure they're friends to
Yeah,
every
they do all the other stuff too. Yeah.
revamping of the place. And they're getting some little crowds in there. So I just I got something coming up in hopefully in October at Red Light. That
Like birthday month, October?
yeah, man. So we're gonna talk about that as it becomes final. Right now, it's I think it's pretty close to being final, but that's gonna be a good little thing, man. That we're gonna start over there at the Red Light. But you had a great crowd, great show.
Yeah.
With Robert Kelly and Lava High and Patrick Arthur. And yeah, man, you can't ask for much more than
Wait,
that.
you missing one more person, bro.
Oh, J9, my bad.
J9. Yeah.
I was because I have so much sympathy for J9 for what happened earlier that day. So I didn't want to, you know, man, I don't even want to, man. I kind of I've been able to block it out, but yes, J9, Tyrone's sister, great vocalist, was in town. She sang at our church first.
Yeah.
Tore the roof off of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like, oh, it's like that. Oh.
Challenge.
Oh.
Yeah, it was good.
What she say? It was a light skin war.
We light skinned that.
Had a light skin war going on. So, but she killed it, and then of course did great at your show as well. So yeah, man. So all right, well, let's get some house cleaning. We've got some shows coming up that we're going to promote. So first we have Hammond B3 Organ Night at Napoleon's in Decatur. This is going to be August 8th. 8 p.m. start. This is going to feature two organists. It's going to feature Pat Bianchi, who is a phenom from New York City. And if you don't know about Pat, you need to check him out if you are a fan of the Hammond. He is, I think, firmly he's kind of the. I mean, there's a few guys that
he's a gentle giant, bro. If he ever just like was bombastic with the way he talked about himself, we wouldn't be able to control him.
He's so humble and under assuming and very humble cat.
But his plan
is he's a direct descendant of Joey DeFrancesco, but has his own thing. So and then the other organist, some cat named what's his cat's name? Let me see. Tyrone Jack.
Okay, I'm canceling my best man duties, bro.
Jason Jack. Oh, Jackson. Oh, Tyrone Jack. That's the same name as you.
It is. Why is it such a surprise?
Man, this cat must be bad, bro. They have he coming in with the same name, man.
The head is kind of subjective, right there.
But hey, no, my man,
I was giving my all.
Right here is going to play a set of organ as well. So same band, myself, Ben Weatherford on guitar, and one set of Mr. Jackson here and a set of Mr. Bianchi. So those tickets I think are on sale on the website. Everything is up on the website. So go to Napoleon's. Actually, what is their website? I don't even know. We'll put that up in a second. We'll find it.
But Bianchi is spelled with a C. I mean an H-I at the end.
Oh, so okay. Well, okay. So thank you for that. Yeah, we will change that.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that was our producer.
Residue from last time. Yeah, I understand.
So I'm throwing him under the bus because he's not here with us. He's in Charlotte watching the Doobie Brothers. All right. So and Steve Winwood is with the Doobie Brothers tonight. Right. So he just sent us some photos. So, but anyway, that's happening Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday, myself, Ben Weatherford, are going up to Nashville to play with Pat up at Rudy's Jazz Room. That will be Friday night and Saturday night. So if you are in the Nashville area, please come up and check that out. That's going to be
Trying to see what I can do, bro. Might have to
yeah.
take a quick little trip out there, bro.
Hey man, we got some cats, some Nashville cats, some friends that are going to be coming through that are off that are home for a little while, and they're going to come out and be checking it out. So that's going to be a good time. Just announced LMXP Jam Session featuring the next generation of jazz. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this, man?
Well, as you well said a while ago, the concept of pros versus Joes was a phenomenal show back in the day. And what it was where you had the pro athletes would go up against the amateurs, right? And
Right,
it was a way of the amateurs to really gauge where they were, you
right,
know. And usually after the pros kicked their butt, they, dapped them up, shook their hand and stuff. Said, yeah, man, I
right,
was worried because you're a big guy, blah blah blah, but this, I've been doing this all my life, kind of thing, right?
right.
And so we had a very successful one at the distillery of modern art,
Mm-hmm.
where we invited and it's not like they're going to be playing with each other, they're going to be playing with the pros, right?
Right.
We give
That's
out
right.
tunes and stuff, and it was highly successful. And then we discussed with the audience live what was going on, and I was
Right.
surprised at how the audience really stayed and enjoyed that aspect of it, because we don't get a chance to talk about what's happening musically at the time or what's going on through our heads and our minds, and it was proved invaluable to the students as well. So we're doing it again. We just want everybody to come out and just be a part of this. It's like looking in the fishbowl or being part of the fish tank to see what's going on. You think
Mm-hmm.
about, uh, I always think about that video of Snarky Puppy when they started having all the headphones on stage where people were immersed in the recording process.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that same thing. Nobody really gets a chance to see what the recording process is really like. Well, what about a scenario where kids are playing with people who are just like, I don't want to say that we are masters of our craft, but yes,
Mm-hmm.
masters of your craft, and get to ask questions. I wish I could have asked Herbie questions. I
Right.
still would love to ask Herbie a question, but in the
Right.
moment or
Right.
after playing with them or hear
Right.
that little tidbit of information. And I think all of us has been a rite of passage to play with more seasoned cats, and then them instruct you in certain things that you would not normally get.
Right.
And so I think that's a lost cause sometimes, because we don't get a chance to jam with the younger generation and pass along that knowledge to them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
this is a
Mm-hmm.
great opportunity for that. If you would like to be considered, it's an invited jam session, so we're going to invite people to come in. So that's very
Right.
important, because we don't want it to be like a spur of the moment thing, because there's so many other dynamics that's involved with us critiquing and being able to set up a groove or set up a form or something. You have to know what we're it's like anything with language. You have to know what you're talking about before you can synthesize and experiment with something. You can't just come in for the first time, learn the tune and expect to go directions with it. So
Right.
that's
Right.
why that aspect is really important.
Right. So we'll talk more. If you have a student, or if you are a student and you feel like you are up to the challenge and want to get on board with us, you can contact us on social media. You can contact myself or Tyrone through our Facebook or our Instagram. You can contact the local musicians XP. You can DM and send us a little information about yourself. And I think they should probably send a video of themselves playing.
Yeah.
We've already got a little list of people that we know we're going to invite. Some people that missed the first one definitely are going to be first in line to get on board with this with the new one. So but more information will be coming out in the next few days, so just stay tuned for that. But we're really looking forward to helping the next generation grow and get to where they want to be. You know what
Yep.
I mean? So looking
And we're
forward to
gonna play
all
some
of that.
too. So we're gonna play some
Yeah,
music, and it's gonna be dope.
absolutely,
So yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. All right, man. We've run our mouths enough because we have a very special guest. Someone that I love working with. I love talking to. Great friend, uh, but great artist. I knew way about her way before before she even knew anything about me. I used to check her out back in the night. Like when I got here, there was a place called Homage Coffee House,
Oh wow.
and I somehow ended. I don't even know how. I asked somebody about I don't even know how I ended up there, but it used to be like I want to say over on like downtown, like Central something Central, and I can't remember what the cross street was, but anyway, I became very good friends with the owner of and so that's kind of what kept me going. And I was just really kind of trying to meet people. I was playing a little percussion and stuff at the time too, so I was sort of uh meeting some singer songwriters, and one of the people that I ended up meeting was our guest this evening. She probably doesn't even remember this. I can't remember if we talked about that or not, but we will. But that's the first time I met her, and then followed her career and the stuff that she was doing. I think I missed her the band that she was in at the time. I think she was just a solo artist by the time I met her. But
So you were
then
stalking her till you got into the band,
I
right?
wasn't stalking, no. But our mutual great friend Doug Keys
Doug, yeah.
has been sort of her right hand man for a while, and
Okay.
Doug and I have been very close ever since I moved here in 1991. So he was like, "Hey man, Michelle Malone's putting a little new thing together. You kind of want to check it out?" I was like, "Oh man, yeah, I do want to check that out." So we started playing together, and that was maybe 6 7 years ago, something like that.
Wow.
Um so
By the
yeah, but
way,
she's got
she's really proud of her drum set that she wants you to see too. I'll just let you know that.
well, we've been trying to hook that up. She keep trying to. I was like, just I'll come through. I'll come through. And she said, "Oh, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready." So anyway, we're gonna just go ahead and bring her up so we can chop it up with the one, the only Michelle Malone. What's up?
Hey, Tyrone, you're in trouble.
I
I hear
saw
that a
it though.
lot.
I already saw it. I already saw it. I just didn't say
I
anything.
I'm trying to hide it.
Nope.
Chris,
Nope.
I had no idea that I met you at Homage.
That's where we first met.
I
Because
pretty much had forgotten about that place.
I know, but that was because okay, so this will tie Tyrone in. So Jackie Howard, right? Of Joyce and Jackie.
Right, Jackie, right.
Is
Yeah.
okay, so Jackie is I'm gonna call her out, sometime member of our church. She's summertimey. All right. So she'll pop in, pop out, but she belongs to another church now, but she used to be a member of the church where Tyrone and I play. So we're still in contact and still very good friends. So, but that's where I first met you was over there. That
Those were,
was what? That was a long time ago.
that was 91, 92.
91, something
Those were
like
Wow.
that.
strange days.
So, well, we're gonna we're gonna talk about because I'm not sure what your path was. I had just heard. I said, "Oh man, Michelle Malone, yeah, she got a record deal and blah blah blah." I heard all of this stuff, and then I saw you playing solo, and that's I wasn't. I think your band maybe happened before that. We're gonna talk about all that. We're actually
All
gonna
right.
gonna deal with all that. But first, how you doing?
I'm
And
good.
talk
I'm
about what
good.
you've been up to lately. What have you been up to?
Well, I've got a new record coming out soon, so I've just been really busy with that.
Well, that's good.
I think everyone keeps asking me which number record it is, and if I don't count all the extraneous releases like the best of or a live record or a Christmas record or all that, it's probably the 16th, Sweet 16. Yeah, I
Man.
don't know when to quit.
Wow. Well, you got
There
something
ain't
to
no,
say. You got something to say, you know?
ain't no quitting. Ain't no quitting this.
No, I guess we're lifers, aren't we? Yeah, but I love it. I love it. So I've been busy with that. Now I have my record label and I do everything myself pretty much. I'm delegating at least, and so there's just been a lot to do. I think we started recording the record about a year ago, and it's been nonstop. So
Okay.
Doug and I have been on and off the road, and Doug Keys, who you were talking about, and we're ready to go out and do more of that. So yeah, just doing the do, you know.
Do you like going on the road?
I do. I like going in short spurts, but we're getting ready to be gone for about 3 weeks, and that's a bit much for me, but that's all right.
It could be grueling, but I mean, could you explain like the process of that for people who don't really know what that's like?
Well, the upcoming run, for example, let's see, we'll fly up to Connecticut, play about 3 or 4 shows in that area, have one day off, fly out to San Diego, pick up a car there, have one day off in the interim.
Wait a minute, you're not taking a private jet this time?
Shoot, those things crash. I don't want to take a private jet. I took a Cessna once with some friends who I thought it was going to be some, rock star vibe because I was playing with Christian Bush at the time, and they made it sound like some great thing. And this thing was like a Volkswagen with wings.
Oh,
I never want to do that again. Anyway, so we'll go out to San Diego and work our way up the coast for a couple weeks, and yeah, it'll be grueling, but I love the West Coast. That'll be great. I get to see a lot of folks I know.
Nice.
Well, people have a misconception as to that we're just partying, having a great time. We're hanging out, hanging out, not a care in the world. And it's like, it's nothing like that, especially when you are funding yourself like you are. Like, when it's a one-stop shop, this is straight business,
Absolutely.
Talk a little bit about that, and then we'll talk a little bit about what it used to be like, maybe a little bit, but what's that like now, just you have to wear every hat that you can find?
Yeah, I'm a travel agent. I'm a t-shirt saleswoman.
She is too, bro. I've seen it.
I used to sell records, now I sell t-shirts. Whatever works.
Hang on.
That could be on a t-shirt right there. I used to sell records, but now I sell t-shirts. Oh, wow. Or a song, perhaps.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to sing about that every night. But yeah, and I'm an agent. I'm a manager. I'm a record label. A&R. I'm everything, and it's a lot. But over time, I like to think I've gotten good at it. So I've learned to delegate, and I've learned I can hire someone to do publicity. I can hire someone to do my distribution and some other tricky things that I don't really have time for or don't want to know how to do, like a lot of social media stuff. When a record comes out, I don't know all the ins and outs of that. I know how to post. That's about it. So anyway, so that's long before we hit the road. Once we hit the road, it's just a whole lot of watching the clock and watching your pennies.
Yeah, it used to be the record company's job to do those things, right? So
yeah,
now that you have your label, you are the record company. So
yeah, but you know what? I wouldn't trade it because I've been on the other side of that fence, and this is more satisfying to me. and I get to make my own schedule, which,
Mhm.
you know, when I was with a major record label, it was the touring was difficult. Shoot, when I was on a smaller record label, the touring was difficult. I remember having to catch a 5:30, 6 a.m. flight to the West Coast from Atlanta, playing a show out there in LA, and then put me on a red eye to New York afterwards. Shit like that. So
All right. Yeah.
it's it,
Man.
so anyway, that's that's better for me now. I get to make my own schedule, and I don't have to argue with the record label about demos or what song's going to go on the record and all that kind of stuff.
That's huge. We don't even think about that aspect of,
Mhm.
especially if I knew in the case of a friend of mine, I was on his album, and the record company owned the rights to this one song. So the song that they own the rights to, they wanted to promote that song the most out of everything. He was like, "That's not even a song that tells everybody who I am." But so he had to wrestle with that. But of course, they would win out. So yeah, that's huge. People don't think about what you want to represent yourself. Not that it's anything bad. It's just that there's other songs that you want to push, probably, right?
Yeah, I remember an example of that is we would make a lot of demos and then they would turn them all down. And and at one point they literally told me to be more like Joan Jett. And I can't do that. That's not me.
Right.
If I could have done that, I might have, because there was a lot at stake. But at the end of the day, or in the morning at least, I'm the one that has to look me in the mirror every day.
Right.
And I'm the one that has to live with me and my decisions. So I feel pretty good about what I'm doing now.
So many people, though, man, they make that decision to sell out, sell their soul, um, with, I guess, hope that they can later, the whole thing is, oh, well, you just do this now, and then, once you're established and you can grow and blah blah blah, you can do your own thing later. But what happens is, at least through, just a fan's eye, when you see someone projecting a certain image or projecting a certain type of music, it's hard to switch gears from that, especially if it becomes popular, or you're stuck in doing just whatever got you there, so you never really get to explore. I see a lot of guys now, who were maybe rock stars in the 80s or 90s, and they're doing soul music, or they're doing jazz, or they're kind of back, they're kind of doing what they want to do, and they're like, man, this is so much better than, I mean, I had a little, more bank account, but I had more stress. I wasn't living a healthy lifestyle, et cetera, et cetera. So talk to, just, because there's still young people that have that sort of delusion of grandeur, if you will. What are some things that you can say, just to kind of, like, maybe watch out for this, or, be yourself and stand strong.
Well, going back to earlier when you were saying a lot of people sell out, sell their soul. Some people are really good at that. And I think some people are meant to do that. And
Mhm.
we also can call it buying in. You
Okay.
don't have to sell your soul to buy in sometimes. Sometimes it's a great fit. And I can think of a lot of people who did that, did it well, and were very successful about it, just out of Atlanta. Um, Unfortunately for me, that wasn't the case. I don't fit nice and neatly in a box. And so it was a difficult thing for me. And plus, gosh, they were picking people up out of every club, out of every band in the 90s, and signing them and throwing it at the wall. And everyone that I knew got a chance in the 90s. Nowadays, it's practically impossible. I
Mhm.
think it's more important to think about a long term career. Think about not being rich and famous, but doing what feeds your soul and your spirit, doing what you're passionate about. And you don't have to take every gig. You don't have to take the gigs you don't want, but you do need to hone your craft and learn how the business works, even if it's, even if we're playing Homage or Red Light Cafe or local clubs, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, my parents made a living and supported the family doing that my whole life.
Right.
So to me, that's a good living. That is an honest blue collar job.
Right.
And I guess because I grew up in that environment, I don't think I ever really thought, oh, I want to be rich and famous. I want to be a rock star. I just wanted to play music. And I kind of stumbled into everything because there were so many people around me doing well that kind of lifted me up with them. The rising tide in Atlanta lifted a lot of boats back then.
Wow.
So, yeah. And as far as do's and don'ts and trappings and all that, I mean, the best thing you can do is to try to know who you are and be your authentic self as often as possible. And sometimes that takes a lifetime. It can take years. I mean, I think I'm one of those late bloomers myself, but you stick to it. Know thyself. It will make a difference.
Well, talk a little bit about just your beginnings and because your parents are or I didn't know your father was a musician. I know your mother. You talked about your mom, and she was a vocalist, and how much you learned from her. And so what was it like? Just sort of, was music always in the house? What were you guys listening to? What were your parents listening to? What were you, checking out on the way up?
Well, I'll clarify real quick, because if I don't do this, it would be wrong. My
Okay.
blood father's picture is staring at me. He's like, that's not what I did. My stepfather's a drummer and a music minister and a voice teacher.
Oh. Okay.
So he married my mother when I was 11, and further introduced me to a lot of more music. But my father didn't really have a musical bone in his body, but he loved to listen to music. So between my parents, I listened to everything in the 60s and the 70s, because even though my father couldn't really carry a tune, he sang all the time. So it was really adorable.
Yeah.
So he would sing the songs from his youth and his high school era, and then my mother just sang everything else. So it was great. Whatever you can imagine was good back then. All the Motown, all the Stevie Wonder, and you were talking about Gladys Knight earlier. All that good stuff. And then I think I first heard Led Zeppelin in my mother's record collection, and Mahalia Jackson, and you name it. I mean, it was a wide breadth of music.
Right.
Because she sang everything from popular music to jazz and blues and opera, if you can believe that. And my grandmother did music theater, and my other grandmother was the pianist in the church. So, I mean, I just got everything. Very blessed to have grown up in such a rich musical environment.
Was there scrutiny from your mother or your grandmother from your early years of maybe playing or singing, whatever? Like, that's not the right note or whatever, Did that happen?
Oh, yeah. It was brutal. I think, neither of them really understood what I was doing when I started out, and they didn't really appreciate it because I was writing my own songs, and I'm pretty sure they weren't that good back then. If they're even good now, who knows? But my mother was painfully honest back then, and I remember at one point, and I think it was 92 or 93, I actually got this opening gig for a few weeks out with Ellen, the comedian.
Okay.
And this is before she was hugely famous, But there were theaters. But anyway, first of all, I can give you some great advice right now.
Okay.
Never open for a comedian. Brutal. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done. Anyway, so we were down in Orlando, Florida, playing the show, and I was so excited because my grandmother lived there. Invited her to the show, and she actually came, and I could see her from the stage the whole time, and the look of displeasure on her face was so rough. And then later I asked her, how she liked it, what she thought about it. She goes, well, it just wasn't my cup of tea. Okay. And I'm sure that hurt me back then, but now I'm, I can laugh at it. But yeah.
Right.
So what year is this? What year would you?
That was, I think, 92 or so.
Okay.
And you learn to take criticism early on in my family. Because nobody is better or more correct than my mother.
Oh, right. I think that runs in every family from what I hear, Well, do you think though, I mean, as you look back, was there that had to kind of toughen you up a little bit, right? I mean, it you can't, because you get out there, you got hundreds, thousands, who knows how many people. We've heard about the iconic artists who have gotten booed off of the stage. I mean, Prince, the Prince story of him opening for the Stones and the disaster that was. But that, he
Stevie
always talked
Ray
about.
Vaughan.
Yeah, I mean, that made them. I mean, it made them into a madman. Is what it made them. So you be careful who you poke like that, right? But what did that kind of toughens you up a little? I mean, it kind of makes you immune to everything, right? Like you already been lambasted by your family, It's like, who else can hit you?
Yeah, nobody hits as hard as your family, right?
Nobody.
But I was pretty painfully shy for a long time and not very outgoing on stage. And for many years after that, I think I used sort of like this rebellious, rough exterior, to get through everything. Pretending to be tough and all that.
Right.
Just to get through all of it. But, later, I think as opposed to being tough, I became courageous. And I think these things come with age, maybe. I don't know. It seems like kids coming up now, they're more grounded. They seem more well-rounded and developed, at least from what I've seen. I was a hot mess.
Tell me this. You're talking about beginnings as well. I heard someone say, who's a female musician, and she's like, sexism is like really big in the music community and stuff. So being a young woman coming into this industry, did you witness any of that? Or is it just like, if you can play, you can play, or you have to put on this persona to be taken seriously? Or, is that something that you have dealt with? Or
I don't, honestly, and I know this sounds strange, but I don't recall ever having to deal with that. And it may have been because I had such a tough exterior.
Right.
Or I may have just not cared or been paying attention. But I do feel like, in a way, we create our own reality. And if you look for the negative, you're going to find it.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, as you sort of, you develop, you kind of get your thing together. We're going to kind of go back a little bit to when we were talking about your days with record companies and your band Drag the River. I want to talk a little bit about just your experiences with Clive Davis, Arista Records, and your band Drag the River. How did that all come about? Was that like you were playing in clubs and boom, somebody's like, hey, I'm going to sign you. Let's go to the record company. How does that work?
Well, I think the way it actually went down was, yes, I was playing in clubs. I decided to make a record. And that was just because I saw other people in town making records. And back then, you made a record as a stepping stone to you put out an independent record as a stepping stone to a major.
Okay.
So I saw people doing that, so I just did it. And I was so naive. It was like, well, if they can do it, why can't I? Which is a beautiful thing in a way.
Yeah.
Right.
And so then I started getting write-ups in the local paper, Creative Loafing. And the next thing I knew, the music editor from Creative Loafing came to a show and asked to manage me. And then he started shopping me around to the labels. And I must have gotten turned down by just about everybody. But for some reason, Clive Davis was interested. And he, I'll never forget this. So, do you remember Little 5 Points Pub?
Sure.
Right there at the corner of
Euclid and Moreland.
Yeah, Euclid and Moreland on the Triangle. He pulls up in a limo right on the Triangle, and someone comes in and tells me Clive is here and he wants you to come out. So, I mean, all he did was he stuck his head in the club for maybe 2 songs. And then at the break, I went and sat in the limo with him, shook his hand, and softest hand I have ever touched. Man's never worked a day in his life. So, yeah, it was all very impressive. I think I was 21 or something at the time. And from that point on, you just have stars in your eyes and you think you're going to be the next big thing. But that was just the beginning, because once you get signed, then it's a whole nother mountain to climb.
Wow.
So, yeah. So anyway, we made a record. It took a long time because they kept trying to force me to work with certain producers that I didn't want to work with. And somehow I got a lot of creative input in the contract, which probably was not a good idea looking back on it because I was 21.
Right.
And I didn't know anything. Anyway, after about a year and a half of looking for a producer, we all settled on one, and then they wanted to fire the band. So I had to fight for the band. We get in the studio in Memphis, Thanksgiving of 89, maybe. And they worked the poor band so hard on one song for days and days, trying to get everyone to quit. I mean, it's things like that.
Wow.
I remember at one point, the drummer threw down his sticks and walked out. And the guys found him at a bar next door. Talked him into coming back. So anyway, it went like that. It never got any easier or any better.
Man.
So, yeah, there was even an instance where the producer was having me and the other guitarist soak our hands in warm, soapy water before every single take because they did not want to hear any fret noise. Like, suck all the humanity out of this record, right, don't you? Anyway, it just continued on like that. I was told that I was not allowed to play any Stones chords, which was sort of my thing. And it wasn't but a hot minute later that Sheryl Crow comes out swinging with Stones chords galore.
Oh, man.
Anyway, so that's kind of how it went down. We did a lot of touring. We mostly opened for a lot of bigger bands and, thinking we're all that because we're on a bus and we're on a tour and all this stuff. And that was the 90s. So we were partying, and that's when it was easy. That part of being on the road was easy because you had a crew and you had a tour manager and you had an agent and a manager and all the trappings, if you will, people doing things for you, which ultimately at the end of the day just meant I was learning nothing. Wow. So I guess fast forward about a year later, it wasn't going well. They asked me to be more like Joan Jett because we kept turning in demos and they didn't like them. And I one day just called up the vice president and told him I quit, which in hindsight was kind of a stupid thing to do. But I didn't understand that if I hung on and they had dropped me, they would have had to buy me out of my contract, which had about 7 more records.
Oh wow.
So that hurt. But
Ooh.
I'm alive. And at the time, I think the reason I quit is because I didn't feel like I was going to live through it. I was drinking a lot and taking a lot of drugs, and I was miserable. And I'm pretending to be someone I wasn't. And I think I wanted to preserve my sanity and my life.
Yeah.
So that's the way that went down. No one really understood, least of all the band.
Right.
So we didn't talk for many years. And I had a whole lot of people were very angry at me, including fans, you know. But it was my life, and I felt it was something I had to do. And here I am, alive and well.
Right. Right.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, choosing yourself is really important. But like you said, looking back on it, you can always think of one thing that you could have done, but you also know there's other things that can happen where you probably wouldn't be alive. You know, you would have been gone. You know, so yeah,
Well, it
kudos to
sounds
you.
like you made the most important decision, which was to live, because the stories go on of guys that are, you know, artists that get trapped in that and no support. Just like you're saying, it's like all of a sudden you're the bell cow for everybody, for the band, for your, you know, your family. You hear this a lot in sports too. The same thing of athletes that all of a sudden they have all of these people relying on them for food on their table or extracurricular things on their table, whatever, you know, whatever that is. So the mind games, you know, you hear these the mind games that go on in this business, and especially that's why they, you know, they always want young artists. They never want older artists because, of course, you know, somebody who's young and you know, just naive, doesn't know, and da da da, and so it's, you know, you live that, and you've got a lot of wisdom from that.
Yeah, I thought about that for many years, and I think I had regrets for a long time. I think because of where I was in my own life, it was best for me. It wasn't because of the record label or anyone there or the band or anything like that. It's just where I was on my path. I really wasn't ready for all that. And that's a difficult thing.
Who is ready for that? There's, man, that's like
Very few.
gasoline on the fire. You can't. Nobody's ready for that. You know.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of people who are more mature at a young age, but I was not one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I recently been kind of going back and putting together the pieces to Terrence Trent D'Arby's career, and he's changed his name and is, I mean, that's a story. I mean, he needs to make a movie. I mean, there needs to be a real serious documentary about that. But it's, again, you have, when you get so much of that stuff thrown at you at a young age, it's like, how can you know what to do? I mean, you can't, and you can't blame yourself. You can't, you know, it's just, yeah. I mean, it's really, it's, you know, Tyrone and I, we use this analogy on different things, but it really is the pimp game. You know, it is totally that. And if you don't understand that and know anything about that, man, you are in for a rude awakening. But we are glad that you made it out the other side and you're still doing your thing, making records better than ever. Um, and probably making your best work. I mean, it's as you mature as an artist, as you mature, especially as a songwriter, which is something that I'm very anxious to talk about, is mastering the art of songwriting, which is what you are. You're a song. I mean, you're many things. You're a great vocalist. You're a great guitar player. I think at heart, you're a songwriter. You write songs. Where do these songs come from? And what's your sort of, I guess there's no one way to write a song, but what are some of the ways that you can talk about how songs come to you?
Throughout the course of my career, they have come from anywhere and everywhere. Some of the songs I wrote early on, I don't even know what they're about. They were just, I liked the way the words sounded together, or I just liked the way it felt. And I still kind of go by feeling a lot, but and then I find that the older I've gotten, the more intellectual the songwriting has become, because really I just know better. But that's not to say the songs are better. They're just different. I'm more of a storyteller now than I used to be. Apparently that's important to some people. Well, I mean, honestly, for me personally, I listen to the lyrics last.
Okay.
I want to feel the groove, then I want to hear a melody, and then it's the lyrics for me, which is very strange as a songwriter who writes with an acoustic guitar. That's not really how I write, but that's what I listen for.
Interesting.
So I don't know how to explain that. It just is, and I think it's because of the wide array of music I heard growing up. So lately I've been writing with a lot of other people because I've written so much. I've felt it getting stale and I wanted some new input, And when I write with other people, I always learn something new. And they come to it from a different perspective with different ideas. And that is really inspiring to me. I still need to be inspired.
I know organists that likes to, inspire and collaborate and stuff too. If you ever
Pat,
hear
Bianchi,
like
Pat Bianchi?
wow,
Pat Bianchi?
wow,
No?
With an H?
Oh.
with an H, right? I'm sure this person's a lot cheaper than Pat Bianchi, so so
We'll talk.
yeah,
I'm telling you, lyrics are the hard part, so but I'm happy to groove.
right. No, that's interesting. I mean, over time we changed. Like I used to write bass lines first, but now I'm getting into the lyrics more to interpret the lyrics rather than to just kind of create a groove. And I think that's because I'm a little more layered now. I'm a little more sensitive to what I want to say. So, I've studied harmony and all these different things, and that's always been like my strongest suit to do that. So now I'm trying to like strip away that
Mm.
so I can get to the essence of it. So
Mm.
I think that's important that, like you said, you have a more intelligent way of writing now, and that could be because you have more layers now that you might have to try to strip down to tell people, or maybe say it in a way that can convey a message a different way. Is that the beauty of lyrics, is to try to convey a message a certain way, or how do you approach that?
Man, lyrics to me are the hardest part, especially when you don't necessarily have something to say in the moment and you have to find something to say.
Right.
That's one of the reasons I've enjoyed writing with other people lately.
Right. So the music can lead you sometimes, right?
Yeah, and not to say that I don't write by myself. I still do, but it's always more personal to me and less of a story per se. It's more emotional, and
Right.
I like to explore both. Anyway, I enjoy songwriting, but more than that, I enjoy recording. It feels so creative and free, and you get immediate satisfaction in the studio because you can hear what you've been hearing in your head. You can actually hear it in the world. And I love working with you, Chris. That record we made in the studio was so good. You threw it down. And that was
Well,
really inspiring to me.
Don't tell
you
me.
know, yeah, so I got you now. Tyrone, gotcha. Matter of fact, when you want to back out, bro, this gonna take a minute, but no, I'm just kidding. That record, I mean, I talk about that record when people ask me questions about things that I've recorded on. Where'd he go? Get back in here.
Backed out.
Sorry.
Things I've recorded, artists I've worked with, and the first thing that I bring up about that record, Michelle, is, because that was 2000, was it 16? Something like that?
17, I think.
17, something, yeah, 17 maybe. Was there's no click track on that record.
Yeah.
You are split track.
Well, I mean, but we recorded the band live, and very few overdubs. Huh?
We didn't rehearse and we didn't know the songs.
Didn't rehearse, didn't know. I mean, she had sketches of stuff. That was what she had. And so it was really, for my personal, likes and dislikes, that is exactly how I love to record. I mean, even if there's, we just recently, I did another great recording with Tyrone with Carla Harris, and even though there were kind of charts, we did a rehearsal, but there was so much that was left up to interpretation for us. There wasn't, this is this is that, it was like, let's create around this form. We had forms, but nothing was really laid out as to how to play what, or, we got in there and fiddled around with some grooves, and next thing you know, boom, boom, boom. And that's kind of with, Michelle, it was like, as you were writing on the fly, on the lyrics, on the coming up, we were, okay, we need another section here. How are we going to do this? It was so organic, man. It was really a great experience. And there's some funky tracks on that record. Slings and Arrows, I believe it's called. So yeah.
I'm hearing your intro to Sugar on My Tongue right now. It's so good.
But I can see the excitement on your face, Michelle. That is that is so dope just to see that,
It was good. It was a good vibe, and it was very spontaneous, which lit a fire under us. And the more we did, the better it sounded, and the more inspired we were. So it was a nice vibe.
Right. Yeah, I don't remember a single moment of stress. What are we going to do now? This is not working, blah, 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 blah. I mean, it was just like, I think we got maybe hung up on, there was maybe one tune that we kind of was like, I can't remember which one it was, but we came back to it maybe later on. But it was like, because we just wanted to keep flowing, because things were just kind of, were flowing, I mean, have there been other records that you've done where you've had a similar experience with that? No. Really?
No, but I think those songs really lit themselves to that approach. For me, the songs always tell me what they want and how they want to get there. And those songs felt organic and spontaneous just from the word go. Whereas the past couple records I've done were a little more crafted. The songs were a little more crafted, and they were less bluesy. and more singer-songwritery. Is that a word? Writery.
It is now.
But I like to explore genres and styles and approaches and just everything. To me, if this is my life and it's more than half over by now, I just want to see what all I can fit in, you know. And we've already established a long time ago, early in my career, that I don't fit in a box. And if that's the case, and I'm independent and truly the master of my universe, then I can do whatever I want.
Right.
And I don't have to stick to this old school idea that we have to fit in a box and stay in a box. In fact, I feel like the paradigm has been shifting now for a couple of years. And I don't think artists have to do anything the way that it's always been done, or even the way that everyone else is doing it, because there are so many options.
Yeah.
Like,
okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, just like this, like streaming platforms, there's so many different options. There's even a new streaming platform, a music streaming platform coming live, I think next month sometime, called Valid Music. And they're going to share the subscription money with the independent artists.
Wow.
Yeah. I think you can go to validmusic.com and just get an idea of what's coming.
Okay.
But I mean, there's just there's so many new ways to do it. You've got Patreon and you've got Kickstarter, and you don't have to have a record label. In fact,
Right.
most of the time, I think it would be a detriment. Unless you are one in a million, unless you are Beyonce or someone of that ilk.
Right.
Yeah. Well, even Beyonce, when she did that one album outside of the record company, they got real mad. But what can they do? I mean, she's already got the Beehive, I mean,
don't mess with the Beehive, bro.
You don't need.
Don't mess with the Beehive. Liquid man, don't mess with the Beehive.
Oh no. But Michelle, you were talking about enjoying recording, and I don't think people really realize that sometimes you give them the best performing musician and get them in the studio, and it doesn't happen. You have to. I'm one of the, not to toot my own horn, but when I get into the studio, it's a different thing for me, And so when I'm recording, it kind of focuses me more, because whenever I'm on a gig, I'm like, I'm trying everything, right? But when I get into the studio, I'm like, this is where I'm going to live. This is what I'm going to do. And maybe Chris could attest to that. I don't know. We never talked about how we each other are in the studio. We never talked about that. But there's times where you can have the greatest musician in the world and go into the studio and it's just not happening. So for you to enjoy recording, had it always been like that, or you are able to focus more, or sometimes people worry about their mistakes. Sometimes people worry about, hey, this is going to be out there forever. What's your thoughts about that? And also, what's your advice to people who want to go into recording?
Well, for me personally, and especially on that record in particular, I was in a really good place mentally and emotionally. I was very confident and about, my skills, but also confident in the band and confident in the songs. And so, every little thing will appear on the record. You can hear if someone's tense.
Right.
You can hear if the band's not getting along, even though the notes may be perfect.
Right.
You can hear everything. Well, you feel it.
Yeah.
And that's something a lot of people don't understand.
They don't.
I think your vibe goes down on, tape or whatever we call it now.
Yeah.
And that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, we had just what was it, last week we were in the studio, Chris? Last week we did like 3 takes of a song, and the one that probably was the more perfect take didn't feel the best. And we're like, oh wow, let's go back to that first take. One of them, we were just warming up on a song, and that bad boy felt good. And we're like, oh, can we do something with this? He's like, well, I didn't start the tape off until whatever, blah blah blah. And we're like, man, the feel was great, but you got to kind of make those decisions. You're exactly right, Michelle. Sometimes there's a vibe on something, and you can record 2 minutes later and lose that vibe or whatever.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
I just saw where Erica Badu was talking about this subject, and she was like, I don't really like the finished product. I like the demo.
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah.
I like the raw. I want it, I want the rawness. I want, I don't want I don't really. And it was just interesting to hear her talk about that. And I think we all sort of can relate to that. I think that's why, for a lot of us, we love the music of the 70s or, earlier music where it was just cats in a room cutting, and, I mean, of course, there's things where they might have spliced certain things together, but it was still humans playing. There was no metronome, there was no click track. There was mistakes that became part of the song. There were jams that become part of the song. So Michelle,
Feedback from the guitar.
yeah, I mean, and those become part. That's man. Now
Right.
you gotta. That has to be in the arrangement. Like I got to
Right.
figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
Prince talked about the intro to When Doves Cry. He's like, man, I have no idea how I played that, and I've never been able to play that like that again. Or the Stones, the jam on Can't You Hear Me Knocking at that was like all improvised. It's like you can't, and those things are not going to happen unless you get in there and see what happens.
That's when God walks in the room.
Right. Right. It's so all of that just raw. We just gonna play, and then you might do an overdub or something here and there, but for the most part, it's like, hey, this is a finished product. We did have a question though for you, Michelle. So Brad Thomas wanted to know. He says, Michelle, what made you choose the guitar as your instrument?
Well, I think first and foremost, I'm a singer because I've been doing that ever since I can remember. And when I got old enough to be in school band, I played the saxophone.
Okay.
What? You played sax? I didn't know that.
I don't play anymore. I mean, I think I've pulled it out once in the past 30 years. So I was really loving the sax, and I was pretty good at it, and first chair and all that fun stuff. But then I discovered rock and roll. Remember that Led Zeppelin record I told you about?
Yeah.
So I was in 7th or 8th grade, and my friend turned me on to Led Zeppelin, Physical Graffiti.
Masterpiece.
And I was the right age at the right time. I found my brother's guitar in his closet, which he told me never to touch. And of course I had to. And then I was off to the races, and it used to be like saxophone, guitar, and then it slowly went like this. Because you can sing when you play guitar.
Right.
So that's really why. That's why that happened.
You got any other questions? I'm sorry. If you got any other questions for Michelle, drop them in the chat. What you got, bro?
Do you play piano any?
I wouldn't do it in public. I wouldn't play drums in public either. That's just my happy place. I love to play drums, but I don't do it outside of the house because I don't want it to become a job.
Right.
But you sure ask a lot of questions about the drums, man. You ask a lot of questions.
It's what?
Okay,
it's
so
one thing I can do where my brain is completely occupied. All my appendages are busy, and I cannot think about anything else. It's the best.
So give me 3 of your top drummers, other than me, of course. But
that wasn't even in there. You don't have to worry about it.
I mean, that's a given. But give us 3 of your favorite drummers, and why?
I can't do that. Here's why. I got a Pandora Station with Earth, Wind, and Fire.
I see. I knew that was coming. Okay.
I push go, and then I just play to it. I don't always know the band. I don't always pay attention. I'm just playing, and I can't tell you who they are. It's a beautiful thing because I'm so not in my head.
Right.
It's
Okay.
not even work. It's just pure joy.
Well, give me so what's your favorite Earth, Wind, and Fire song to play drums to?
Anything that's simple. Anything that's straight up forward and not too fast. I like to sit down in the pocket and just groove.
Okay. All right.
I mean, even groove tonight's a little fast for me. But I don't know.
Boogie Wonderland.
Sure, Boogie Wonderland's good. I like it. A lot of the 70s pop disco stuff is fun to play to. I don't like the chicka chicka. I just like the stuff.
Right.
You know?
Well, stuff like Night Fever. I mean, there's a bunch of those songs that have that just great meat and potatoes drumming.
You know what's really fun to play to? Michael Jackson. All day.
Which
it's funky, but it's particular track? It's simple.
Billie Jean.
All day.
Okay. Okay. So
give me the extended mix.
Right.
Okay. Well, that's Ndugu Chancellor, just so you know, who played drums on Billie Jean. That's Ndugu.
Well, I love him.
Yes. and the Earth, Wind, and Fire stuff I talk about a lot too, because I feel like I know a lot of the history of how that stuff was recorded. Plus, I've talked to a lot of people who were around at that time who when some of that stuff was on the radio, people were really, really checking that out because of how mature it sounded. So most of those tracks, the drum tracks, were Maurice White, especially stuff like Can't Hide Love, That's the Way of the World. Most of the hits are Maurice, are Mo. And
and we've talked about this. He had a feel.
Yes, $1 million feel
of a singer.
Yes.
So he could.
Oh, that's interesting.
From the main vocal, but also accent it really well, and he didn't have to think about it. So it was all feel, I think.
That's interesting. Because he's a reluctant. Well, he's a reluctant singer. He only started singing was because they needed somebody with a lower. He was a drummer. He was a studio drummer. He played on, he played with Ramsey Lewis. He did a bunch of those blues sessions in Chicago. I mean, that's what he was. He was a drummer. He wasn't a singer or a performer. So that's crazy too, right? But
so, Chris, when you gonna step out front?
Never.
Never say never.
That's territory that will never be explored, as far as I know. Man. A couple more things, Michelle, and then we're going to let you go. So one thing I want to just sort of touch with you on is one of your idols. We've had a lot of discussion about this person, and I was so thrilled to hip you to the I have the poster right behind the Summer of Soul.
That was a great movie, concert, great film.
And the person I kind of want to talk about
Mavis
is, and get you to sort of give. I know that she's one of your, I don't want to say idol, but someone that you look up to and have studied a lot. And I just want to talk to you about why she's so near and dear to you, and just talk a little bit about what Mavis Staples means to you.
She's so expressive, and you know her voice immediately because of it. She sings from such a deep place. And I don't mean the notes. Just her soul is so big. She reaches so far down and comes up with these sounds through her throat and her mouth that are so moving to me. And that's the main reason. There are so many other reasons I could say, but I like singers that move me. And there are a lot of singers that can, do gymnastics with their voice and hit the highest notes and do these runs that are unfathomable to me. But, and I do appreciate that and much respect, but I want to feel something, And there's a lot of singers that do that for me. And I like to hear mature voices now, voices that have now got this color to it. I thought Whitney Houston was sounding better than ever right before she died because she had so much body to her voice. I always loved her, but later it was just starting to get there for me. It was like Gladys Knight getting there. So I think Mavis also is so organic. Her music is so organic. And a lot in the past 10 years or so has been something that I could actually going back to the staple singers was something I could actually play to and feel like, oh, I can do that, being a guitarist and a singer-songwriter. I could relate to it. I mean, I love Gladys, but I could never do that. I think Mavis made us all feel like that was possible.
Wow. That's great. When we watched, Summer of Soul, I can't remember where we were.
Yeah,
we pulled it up. We pulled it up. It's like, oh man, y'all got to see this Summer of Soul. And me and my wife had just watched it, and there's when the staple singers came on, and then Mahalia Jackson joined.
It was like she handed it off to her.
It was and Mahalia was not feeling. I guess the backstory of she was not feeling well at the time. And Mavis talked about that, like how she was handing it off to May. I mean, that was some deep moving stuff. I mean, I know I had a couple tears. I know you did too, because I was like, oh boy, this is something right here,
It was history in the making.
Right.
And we got to see it.
Right. Finally.
Yeah.
Next to Questlove, definitely.
Yeah.
Hey, Michelle, I have a question for you. There's this lyric that you sing in a song that's intriguing to me. You said something about underneath my disguise, I can see they're scared or something like that.
Yeah.
And you start off with something about, do you like tattoos? Do you like pink hair or whatever?
Yeah.
Can you tell? I mean, that's such a great lyric. What did that hit you with? Underneath my disguise, I can see they're scared. Like what? That was it. I'm listening to that. I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, I didn't think about that before. It's so layered. Can you kind of talk me through that a little bit?
Yeah, that's a song called Know My Name, and it just organically came out. I didn't have to think too hard about that one, which is a good sign.
Right.
I think that line in particular, not only did it talk about what goes on around me sometimes, but it also was a direct reflection of what goes on inside of me. And it not just inside of me now, but inside of me years back.
Right.
It's kind of like full circle. I know how people feel because I know how I used to feel about it.
Right.
Something like that. I've never really been asked that question before, so I'm just guessing.
No, because it's cool, because it's like I would describe myself as a very sensitive person, and I'm kind of like giving a lot, but I have to change that because people can take advantage of that. quality. So I want to give all the time, but now I'm really, really hiding that, so because there's a scripture in the Bible that says, "Don't cast your pearls before swine,"
Well,
right?
right,
And don't give your precious things to people who's just going to slop all over it.
right.
People have to appreciate what you have. So I'm really, really more cognizant now of, I don't want to say who I help or how much I help or how much I give away. And so it really belies that disguise of who I really am.
Mm.
But you just got to be smarter. So that lyric spoke to me because, like, that disguise. And sometimes you were talking about earlier today about having this hard exterior or being that type of person. I think we all have to wear kind of disguises just to cope with certain things, right?
I think so. And it's a different disguise in different situations, but
Right.
maybe it's less of a disguise now for me than it is just navigating each situation I'm in differently.
Mm-hmm.
Because oddly enough to me, sometimes people are afraid to talk to me because they have put me on a pedestal, and that's hilarious to me because I'm just like everyone else.
Right.
I'm goofy and well, Chris knows. So I, I don't necessarily understand it, but I have felt that way around other people before. So,
Right.
I know what it's like on both sides, and that way I know how to behave because I can be empathetic to the situation.
Right. We don't want Chris on the pedestal because he's gonna, abuse that.
He's
So
already on a
I
throne.
walk in. So I walk into this cat's gig on Sunday. I mean, literally, my foot crosses the crosses. I mean, literally walk in. Hey, let's have a hand for Chris Burroughs, man. It was so funny, and like I was like, bro, are you serious right
I was
now,
shaking
man?
his head. It was
He
beautiful.
got
I
me
loved
so
it.
good. He got me so good, man. It was real quiet too, because it was like just before they were about to start. And he's face, where the way he's facing the man. That was a good. You got me on that. Yeah, you
People
got me.
started clapping too, man. It was
That was hilarious, man. That got me so good. All right, 2 more questions, Michelle. All right. First off, what are you listening to? If anything, what, do you listen to music? What are you listening to?
Remember that Pandora mix I told you about?
I do. Okay.
I've been okay. Here's the whole truth. I've
Okay.
been really watching the Olympics a lot because I just it's the most joyful thing I've seen in so long that I love watching it. I love seeing their families support them and everyone cheer and everyone working so hard for this common goal. So I find it really inspiring. Thusly, I've been sitting on the couch a lot. And well, energy begets energy and sitting begets more sitting. So the other day I got tired of myself and I had to put on that mix, dance around the house, get moving because I had to be somewhere, things like that. I use music intentionally,
Okay.
if it's in the morning and I need to power up, I'll put on something upbeat. If I just want to stay relaxed all day, I got a nice Ella Pandora mix I'll put on, and just kind of stay
Okay.
in that vibe. But I've been kind of eating out with Ella lately too because Doug gave me this great biography of her for my birthday, and I'm about finished with that. What a
Nice.
story!
Nice.
Yeah,
Wow. Killing. All right.
her early years were so heartbreaking, but then all of a sudden, her story is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's another show.
All right. So we got one more. Should we hit her with the
Yes.
No.
Okay, are you
Would
sure
you
you want
rather?
to
No,
hit her
you
with
do.
that
You
one?
do.
All right, let's do it. All right.
She might not go for it, but yeah.
Worst gig
gig
you
I
ever did.
Gosh. I don't know off the top of my
The
head.
one with Chris Burroughs.
Ah,
Reese's Pieces. No.
there
There's
was
so many.
one. There was one that we did that I don't know if it was the work, but we were not happy about afterwards.
You and I?
Yeah.
Was it the worst gig ever?
It wasn't the worst gig ever, but it was pretty. It was like we were like, let's get the hell out of here.
Where was it?
Let me think.
I hope you don't remember it because I don't want to remember it. I think I blocked
It was like a. It was like a. It was. I can't remember where it was. Only thing I remember is they put us in kind of like a sports bar kind of thing, and we were just like,
good.
"What are we doing?" So that one comes to mind. But
so the worst gig I ever played, like as in I was terrible, or just the situation was terrible.
The situation was.
There are so many of those. There's no way I can pick one or 5 or 30. I mean, you know, a lot of gigs are bad because your attitude is bad, and I'm just now figuring out how to jump those hurdles and keep my sanity. And somewhere in the past couple of years, I just got an immense amount of gratitude for everything, and it's made all the difference in the world.
Now we can't let you off the hook like that. Because, like, okay, because I had a gig.
I just got back from a Texas run, and we had to play 2 different outdoor shows.
There you go. Now we talking.
It was like 97 degrees, and because it was outdoor in Texas, and it was 97 degrees, and it wasn't advertised, there were like 15 people there. And so we're killing ourselves in the heat for that. Right. That feels like a bad gig. But I'll be honest, I had fun because I had to force it.
Right.
I thought, you know, if I don't make the best of this, I'm going to hate myself. And everyone else will too.
Now we're talking, because one of my worst gigs, I was outside. It was freezing. And the people came and closed the doors on us. And said, we can still hear you, but it's cold. We're like, what? I was like, nah, Chief, we are in this right now. I'm going home. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think I just block out a lot of those bad gigs.
Some of them you can't, trust me. It'll come to you later on, but I don't want to necessarily put you on the whole spot here. But listen, it's been a pleasure. We're gonna have you back at some point. We'll find another cool topic to talk. Oh, we have another Michelle question by the same cat, Brad Thomas. Michelle, is there a song you
guitar mostly? So yeah, I gotta see what's going on.
Is there a song you've written that is your absolute favorite to play at all your gigs?
I kind of genre hop a little bit, so I have several songs that I feel that way about for different reasons. Well, the song you mentioned, Know My Name, I love singing that because it just makes the room feel good, and I feel good. I love singing it. It's in it. I don't know. It just feels right, you know. And then there's more upbeat songs that I get to play slide guitar on that are crazy, but again, it always amps up the room. One of them is Feather in a Hurricane. I tend to close my shows with that for that very reason. But there's just so many.
Yeah. Slide guitar. You like Mississippi Fred McDowell or?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't play like that. I wish I could, but I tend to play a lot of slide on acoustic guitar, and so I don't have that sustain as much. So I end up having to move around it. I just think it's spazzy, but a lot of people like it. I'm not like a Bonnie Raitt. But when I play electric, it's different. You know, it's a little more Ron Wood or Mick Taylor or something like that, but not as tasty. I just do things the way I do them. I honestly don't think about it.
Nice.
Well, it's the only way I know how.
Now I got to hear these drums. I got to hear you play drum set now. All the pins is moving.
You can just pretend that I sound like Chris.
Whatever.
Nobody sounds like that dude.
Whatever.
Right
Whatever.
now.
Whatever. Man, whatever. Whatever.
He's his own person. I got to say that.
Now you can say that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Hey,
for the
it's a love. I'm like the Dallas Cowboys, man. You either love me or hate me.
That's the way it's got to be.
That's the God's honest truth, man.
That means somebody got to be Jerry Jones, huh?
Are you a
listen.
fan?
No, heck no.
Just checking.
Oh my God. Ew. There's a long story there. I'll share that with you sometime, but no. Well, listen, we've had a great time.
Yeah.
And we don't want to keep you here all night. We could, but we won't. And we're going to have you back. We're going to talk about some different stuff next time. And we've all, I'm sure you sometimes it's like, oh, okay, I talk about myself, but let's talk about we'll find something else to talk about, physical graffiti, and we'll talk about some other stuff that, so
that sounds good.
Yeah, but thank you for coming on. And our brother Doug Keys will be on sometime late August. We're going to have Doug on. So that'll be fun. And I'm sure he'll have some road stories for us to, no, I'm just kidding. It's so boring. It's like, it's just boring. It's like nothing happens.
We've all seen Behind the Music enough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, too old for that stuff, man. Too old for that. But thank you. Good luck for whatever on all your new projects. Hopefully, we will play again soon. We just played a couple of months ago.
North Georgia.
And when's your next gig? You having a gig in town that we can come see you, check you out, or close by?
I'm having my record release show is October 19th at Eddie's Attic. We do 2 shows there. The first show is just going to be me and Doug. We've been touring as a duo, so we like that. And the second show, I'll have a full band.
Nice.
That's 1 month away from my birthday, so that's cool. You only missed it by 1 month, but yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Well, I appreciate y'all. I really enjoyed this, and I thank you for asking me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. And now that you're a friend of the show, like I said, we're going to have you back on, and we'll talk about some other stuff. But thank you. You take care. Say hello to Trish for me, and we will see you soon.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
Man, that was cool, man. It was so good to hear her perspective and the energy that she puts into it, because I thought one of the most important things was like, whatever way you look at it, if you look at something negative, it's going to be negative, so that's really huge.
That's just, that's wisdom.
Life.
You think something's going to last forever. You take it for granted, all those things. But independence is for, especially for someone who's been through the whole, people just, you have dreams and aspirations of making it, and you always think the grass is greener on the other side, but very few artists get to that level of where it really is grass is greener on the other side. A lot of people, man, they may taste it, they get a taste, but then it's like they're out of it before they were in it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so it's sort of a mixed bag of different, as we continue to, talk to different people, we're going to get different perspectives on that. And it seems like everybody sort of has their own story, right? To say, talking to people who, in the jazz world who have had the record deal and all this, and they're like, man, I'm not going to, we'll save some of that, but it's like, it's just a lot of interesting stories out there about what it's really like to work with to work with the business at that level, you know.
I mean, there's a lyric in a song that says, "We all the same, but we're different," and so you'll find that there's stuff that uniquely make you who you are. At the same times, when you hear these stories, oh wow, I dealt with that, or this is something I deal with. So this platform is really important to help musicians of all walks of life to see, hey man, if you get into this situation, that little nugget could be in your brain, like this happens, or you could take something that's going to make you better. Just perspective, a philosophy. I mean, when I was younger, to have perspective, to have a philosophical approach to this thing, I didn't have
Mm,
any of that. And how could you as a youngster? You don't
mm,
know.
mm. You don't
Like
know
we were
nothing.
doing the roots thing a long time ago with my brother, but we didn't have the vision of like, man, we need to get together every day and practice or every week. And we didn't
Mhm.
have that vision to sacrifice. We went and played
Discipline, right,
basketball. We went
right.
working on a moving company. Yeah, that shaped who we were and who we are today. But imagine if, there was a platform like this where we could learn from people. I mean, Clive Davis coming out to your gig in the limousine and says, come out and talk to him.
Mhm.
That's like,
Well, she made mention of something that is really kind of gospel when it comes to really kind of anything. It's not
mhm,
your talent, it's not how good you are at something. It's sometimes it's not how bad you are at something.
right, right,
It's are you a fit
right,
for the
right,
situation?
right,
I've had to look back on certain opportunities that I may have had. The first thing you want to do is beat yourself up because it didn't work out. Oh, it
right.
was something I did. It was maybe I overplayed. Did I underplay? Did I not wear the? It's just, man, certain people are comfortable with certain types of people, and are you a fit? It's like it come. We talk about this all the time in sports, basketball, football. You can have a great player, but if they're not a fit for that system,
Right.
it they can't find a way to utilize your talents. And I think that's the hardest pill to swallow for a lot of us, man. Is and people that think that act like they are a fit for everybody, man, you can't trust that person because they're lying. How can you be a fit? No, I'm serious, man. Like,
Right.
how can you get along with everybody? How can you be a fit for? It's like, well, I thought about this the other day, man. Like, people that don't have an opinion about anything, man, I gotta question. I gotta question, like, because the only reason you just don't want to offend, you don't want to offend any, or you don't want to not fit in somewhere is the
Yeah.
reason that you don't have an opinion. It's not that you don't have an opinion, right?
Yeah. Or maybe you want something from me. I mean, you get all that
Exactly,
butter on you. It might be time to be based and put in the oven.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So I'm always like, nah, man. I want somebody. At least I got to know where they stand. Which is, see, that's what's happened with social media, though.
Yeah.
This is, man. People eventually show you who they really are. They can't help it. If you know, there's always that person that's like, man, they never say anything in public. Boy, on social media, man, they are the know-it-alls of know-it-alls, or they are picking fights with people, or it's like, what do you call it, cyberbullying
Yeah.
or whatever.
Which is the
It's
worst thing because all you have to do is just search for these cats and see what they're like, and you're like, oh, I mean, we do it all the time. People calling
definitely
for a gig.
the
Hey man,
move.
give me about
Oh,
5 minutes. I'll call you right back. I go
oh my
search all the
God,
stuff. I search it and it's like, ooh, ooh.
man! I tell you what, that's one thing I love about 2024 now
Yes. Vetting.
is I can search, and give you an answer before I even.
Man, somebody just asked me today, do you know such and such a person? I was like, the name rings a bell. I was like, this person might be on Facebook. Let me look up Facebook. As soon as I saw the person, I was like, oh yes, I know this person. He almost got me. Almost got me. I was like, they almost got me. They have emerged from the shadows again.
Oh, speaking of almost got me, we're gonna close the show with this, man. So, I'll tell a funny story, man. So you sent me this thing with Apollo Creed, Stallone. We're both like Rocky movie fanatics, right? So
Yes.
mainly 3
Yes.
and 4. 3 and 4. I mean, we love it all, but 3 and 4, we pretty much know like every line, all the,
Right.
So you sent me this thing from 4, man, about Apollo trying to get back in the ring, and Rocky's like, we're not those people. We're like people now, Apollo.
We're like ordinary now. That was so
we're
funny.
We're hard, but Rock, I want to do it. I can do this, Rock. I can do this. I can do it. I got the eye of the tiger, Rock. So, we've been doing great with getting back into exercise, walking. We're getting our bikes and all this stuff.
Right.
Starting to bike ride and stuff. Lost some weight. So I got this, man. I have these delusions of grandeur, man. I'm like, because I used to have a career, not a career, but I was in the martial arts, like, all through my teens, man, and even early 20s and stuff, right? So, yeah, and that's been on my mind. It's like, man, I want to get back into doing some training. And so you and I were at, we were at in Avondale Estates and at a keto studio. Incredible, man. Right. So we find that a keto studio. I look at it, man. It's incredible, man. You just got to see the inside of this place, man.
Oh wow. Okay.
Supernatural, man. Incredible. So I inquired, and guy gave me the information about the classes, all this stuff. So that's one way I was thinking about. But I was like, man, I got this boxing thing on my mind, man.
Oh, no.
I got this boxing thing, man. So I'm just thinking, man, I want to just, I want to get a little bit of the training. I want to speed bag, so that's how I'm thinking, right? So I'm like, man, who do I know? And I'm like, oh, my boy Deshaun Williams. Do you know Deshaun? Percussionist. Okay. So my boy Deshaun Williams is, a bad boy. He has trained he's been in over 100, 115 amateur fights himself.
Right.
Plus the cat was in the Marines for 5 years.
Right.
He's a full-time percussionist. I'll break down some of the stuff that he was talking about. He's working with this corporate band now. Okay. So he was telling me some stuff about that. It was real interesting. So anyway, I sent him a message. I say, hey man, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. So I'm looking for some, maybe want to get into some boxing training, right? So he hits me back. We have a conversation.
Right.
Call him, so we had to catch up because we hadn't talked in a minute. So we catching up and all this stuff. And so I'm like, well, man, let's get to it, man. So what's up with the with the boxing training? So he starts giving me like all of this, like, dude, it's like some real deep stuff that you would like really be into, right? In terms of, because you're a boxing head. So he starts telling me all this stuff, and so he's like, yeah. So you, what are you looking for? I said, well, me and my wife, we've started to get back, in the into the exercise thing. We want to add that, to it. So he's like, well, I got a friend who lives, I think, close to you. So let me get into contact with them because I might be able to get all of you guys together at the same time, right?
Right.
So I'm like, okay, cool. So, but I'm like, well, tell me the details, man. First, like what's the cost? He said, we ain't gonna worry about all that, man, because it's gonna depend on if I come to you, if you come to me, blah, 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 blah. I don't want you buying no equipment. He says, don't buy anything. He said, you're gonna buy, you said eventually you're gonna need headgear, gloves, tape, shoes, everything. He said, and then I said, well, He said, but he said, I do have a training method, right?
Here we
I
go.
said, okay. I said, well, what you training? He said, well, people have come to me, Chris, just for my training. They don't even, not the but I've had. He starts naming these fighters, right? I'm like, oh shit. So, well, what's your, and he just said these. He said these words to me. He said, Chris, he said, I'm not going to kill you, but I am going to challenge you. I was like, man, let me call you back, Deshaun. I'll be out of town for a while, man. Bruh, now he blowing me. He's like,
Deshaun, if you're listening, bro.
He's like, what you doing Friday? I'm like, oh, I'm out of town, bro. I'm out of town Friday. Yeah. He's like, okay, well, what about what about next? Oh man, I got a rehearsal, man. I could tell, man, just when he said, I was like, oh,
here we go. I'm not gonna kill you, but I'm gonna challenge you.
He said, I am gonna challenge you. I said, good God Almighty. So we had a great conversation. We got to get him on, man, because he's a real interesting cat. You would love philosophically where he's coming from. He got a lot of knowledge, man, and just like we were talking about the whole martial arts versus boxing dynamic.
Oh, I would love it.
It was incredible. Yeah, it was incredible. It was incredible. So we're gonna have him on and talk about like just some different things. But he's a bad boy, man. He's straight up Bronx, New York. Straight up Bronx, New York. Man,
I hired this guy, bro. I met him at the gym in Riverdale. I was working at like a rec center, right?
Okay.
I saw him training this chick, and man, she was killing, right? So I mean, I was walking the track, whatever. They went doing swimming stuff. Man, she was looking cut. She was looking good. I was like, dude, this is the cat, right? I introduced myself, Coach Murphy. So he's like, nice cat. He says, hey, Ty, how you doing, man? He said, when you want to get started? I said, man, as soon as possible, man. He said, I got 2 programs for you, man. If you want to, he said, we could do twice or 3 times out the week, whatever, blah, blah, blah. He said, I can't give you the nutrition stuff because that's what, you'd have to be certified to do that. So I'm not going to tell you that, but I have some people that I know if you want to do that, but I could talk to you about eating healthy or making choices. I was like, okay, cool. So, bro, first week I went out there, bro. You gung-ho, you want to please people, bro. So, man, I'm doing everything, bro. Everything he asked me to do, bro. I get back to my garage, bro. Just sitting in the car, bro. I can't get out of that bad boy. I know I got to face these steps, right? I just got 16 or so steps, bro, but my body is killing me, right? After sitting in the car for half an hour, bro, I get up, go up the stairs, man. 2 days later, bro, I go out there. He's got me outside. Man, I run. I start dry heaving, bro. Like that. He said, keep going. I was like, right? So I fall down, whatever, man. Next time I come out there, bro, he has me run up a hill, bro. People are out there. We go to the track. He said, I got something new for you going out to the track. I was like, okay. It's not going to cost you no money going out to the track. I was like, okay. He's like, run up that hill. They had people out there, bro. I threw up. Like that, right? Come back. He says, the next week, I'm dreading Monday, but I'm like, man, I'm no quitter, right?
Right.
So we go out. He worked me out again. I'm dead dog tired. He says, hey, man, do you mind if we go to get something to eat? He's like, my treat.
Uh-oh.
So he pulls up to Burger King, right? And I'm like, I can smell the flame broadness. I know it's a setup though, bro. So he's like, man, give whatever you want to eat, man.
Oh, he was checking you out, is what he was doing.
I said, nah, man, I'm good, bro. My stomach is growling. I'm like, man. So, man, I don't tip my hand, bro. I let him get something. I can't even remember what he got. He didn't get anything. I'm checking him out to see what he's gonna get too, right?
Right.
Of course, he's in shape. It don't matter what he's getting, right?
Right.
So like, man,
might be his cheat day. For all you know.
But
Right.
so the next day he was like, man, I'm trying to see, man, because you haven't lost a lot of weight, all the stuff I was putting you through. So one day we get back to the track again. I'm doing pretty good. I'm running around, bro. And then he says, man, run up the hills like 5 times. Right? I go up 5 times, come back down, man. I'm about to throw up again. I finally say, hey, bro. He says, run up again. I said, man, I can't do it. He's like, yeah, you can. I said, bro, I cannot. He started clapping.
Oh.
I said, what are you clapping for, bro? He said, I finally found the threshold, bro. He's like, you've been doing everything I've been asking you. I've been trying to see when you're going to resist. He said, now I found the wall. Now we can work. I was like, to hell with that. I said, Coach Murphy, I'll call you when I'm ready to go back again, bro. I was like,
he was ready to get it now.
I
Oh,
was like, really? Is this what this is? Nah, man. I was like, I can't even get up the stairs, bro, in my own house. I was like, man, but it was the best thing for me. I was in some super shape back then, but I was like, bruh, Coach Murphy, if you're listening, bruh, thank you, man. But when you did that slow clap, bro, I thought it was Rudy or something, bro, or Radio Cuba Gooding Jr., bro, when you did that slow clap.
Yeah, when Deshaun said, I am going to challenge you, all I saw was Clubber Lang training in Rocky 3 with the ropes, with the, doing the rope pull-ups, bro, and the whole, I was like, oh, my God, no. It's like, nah, bro. When he was in that, remember when he was in that horror, he was in
he was in a warehouse.
Rocky had all the plush with the all the stuff going on and the people hanging out. He's selling merchandise. Right. That cat was in the dungeon, dude.
He was in the dungeon. I live alone. I train alone.
Pipes bursting over here, man. The cat is. Right. I'm like, oh my
sweat glistening, bro.
That's all I saw. I was like, hey man, yeah, let me holler at, man. I gotta go. I got a student coming, man. Let me call you back.
But I tell you what, I will say this, and we're doing this live. If you do it, I'll go.
Well, I'm gonna do it. So I mean I have to do it. So
great. The only thing I ask of Deshaun is that I can put them gloves on and get you in the ring.
You don't want that, bro. You don't want that.
Wait. No, I'm nice. I'm nice now. I'm nice.
You don't want that, bro.
But you know,
no, actually,
that's though. Most of these
that's a long time, man. That's a long time.
You can quit from just being tired, bro.
Yes. That's a long. I remember, man. I made the mistake of going out for the wrestling team. That's really football and players dangerous. Will tell you. They're dangerous. Like, man, I'd rather do 100 football practices and do what they do. Like, man, that's a whole. Them cats, I got good friends and they were all crazy, certified, out of their mind, whole nother level of like discipline. They beat everything, man. Wrestlers, nah, don't mess with no wrestler, man. No way. No way, man. No way. Especially they get you on the ground. Oh my God.
Grappling moves. They live for that junk. Counters and stuff.
Deshaun talked about that. He was like, man, because Bruce Lee was talking about, he was like, if you don't want somebody to get you on the ground, your legs, that's gotta be your main focus, is your footwork, the strength in because that's what happens to these MMA cats, man. You see it. You can see it coming. If you watch MMA, look at the cat's legs.
Yes.
If his legs aren't developed, it's over.
Oh yeah.
They're gonna get you. They're gonna that other cat's gonna get him on the ground. It's gonna be game over, man.
Right.
But you see cats with them stupid tree trunk legs. You can't get them on the ground.
Yeah.
No problem.
Terrence Crawford, renowned boxer, was a wrestler. They tried to sneak him. He grabbed him, flipped him over. He's like, man, they don't know I was a wrestler first, and that's where his strength comes from, man. His trunk, his base.
Man, I got a good friend of mine, John. This cat was, I mean, I can't even describe
Comes
for
off
him
the
to
court.
make weight.
Yeah.
He was trying to make weight. I think he was trying to lose 5 pounds. He had that insulated suit that makes you
Sweat, right.
Hold up. Not just that. Thermal underwear on underneath it. This summertime.
Could have killed himself, bro.
This summertime. Trying to lose weight so he can get in this weight class. I'm like, it's all, I mean, the mental, nah, man.
My nephew Marcus wrestled. We went to Magic. He was in the super heavyweight division, bro. It was like, but just to go see that was crazy, man. And then the injuries, shoulders pop out. Oh man, that's one dude hip popped out. I was like, oh man, no.
All right, y'all. That was fun.
Yeah.
But we are going to partake at some point. So probably second week of August, I think we're going to try to, because I can't. He was talking about Friday, but I am out of town Friday, and then next week I only had one. Well, actually, he's checking on actually next Tuesday, so I'll let you know.
Hey, we got to rehearse. Well, not this Tuesday coming up, right? Next Tuesday. You talking about next Tuesday? We got a rehearsal, dog.
Oh, well, then that's out during the day, right? Yeah. You know, we got this, and so yeah, it's like, so it's probably gonna be that next week of after we get back from what you call it, from Nashville. Yeah. All right, y'all. Thanks for hanging out with us. Michelle was a treat. Go check her website out. I meant to pull her website out, and she got a great website, man. I need to.
Oh yeah, I liked it.
I need to get that.
Got to click on the microphone from bookings and stuff. That was really cool. I like that.
Yeah, great website. But thanks to Michelle for joining us tonight. If you are not subscribed to the YouTube, you please go to the YouTube and subscribe. Set your notification bell so you know when we drop a new video or are live.
Yep.
Facebook and Instagram support. You can follow us on either page. Drop us a comment. Let us know. Just to let's see. So Napoleon's August 8th. We will be there. Dual organ.
You got to be there.
One set of Mr. Jackson, one set of Mr. Bianchi. That's going to be at 8 o'clock at Napoleon's in Decatur. If you're in the Nashville area, we'll be up there with Pat playing Rudy's Jazz Room. I think that's an 8 o'clock start time as well. And then I don't know if this is going to be maybe once every 3 months, 2 months, something like that. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But we're going to be doing our jam session, invited jam session for featuring the next generation of jazz. So this will be invited young we'll call youngsters who are looking to have a career, maybe go to school, yada, yada, yada. You get to play with us, but you are going to be assigned certain songs that you're going to have to learn. Shout out to who's the tall bass player that came out to Distillery, young cat that you brought out.
Oh yeah. I can see his face. Yeah.
Shoot. My man. He came out to Napoleon's last night.
Oh, he did?
Reintroduced himself and but that cat looks swole, man. I was like, bro, what you been pumping iron and stuff?
No,
man?
He was recruited for the football team and he's told him, no, I love the bass. I know that coach must have been like, bruh.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Florida State was after him?
No, not Florida State. When he was in high school.
Oh, in
He
high
went-
school. Okay.
I think he
Okay.
went not Buford, one of those powerhouse kind of schools.
Okay. Well, we have to talk. Okay, we have to talk to him
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that. So,
Man, I can see his face.
man,
That's a big cat.
so yeah, so we'll have some more information. You can drop us, get in touch with us through DM if you want to be a part of this and are looking to build the next phase of your plan. So I think that's pretty much everything, dude. You got anything else?
No, that sounds like a winner, bro.
All right. So we will be back. We don't have a guest, I don't think, next week.
But we got questions.
So, but we will have some more entertaining content for you all. So everybody be safe, and we will see you guys next week. Peace out.
Peace.